Dan, it's exciting to have you on. And when we first met, how big was your team? What did your team look like? And I think wasn't that about like a year ago or so
Yeah, it
ish?
was
Yeah.
not too long after you joined Real. How long you been with Real? I guess just about a year,
Oh,
right?
a little over a year. Yeah.
So yeah, I reached out after you joined and I'm like, hey, let's grab coffee. I'd love to just connect with other people that are joining. Back then, we are like one of 20 agents in San Diego, and there's like 1,000. It's absolutely crazy. But
Yep.
yeah, when we first met, I had one agent on my team. I had I had been getting in a decent amount of business from YouTube. It was starting to become a little bit more than I can handle. So I started to build a team, brought on my first agent, made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot. And now starting this year, we have a team of 5. So myself, I'm fully in production. I have 2 full-time agents, and then I have one kind of hybrid role that is half administrative, half real estate agent, and kind of unique set of circumstances that brought us into having her have that hybrid role. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So team of 5.
Awesome. Okay, and I love this because I think we've had a lot of kind of larger teams on, or teams that are, kind of, a little well, larger. And so I think there's a lot of agents that come on here that are looking to start a team, or they just have a couple of agents and they want to grow. And so I think this is really cool to catch you within the last year at this journey and what you did. And so let me just go back a minute on all of this too. So again, I met Dan about a year ago, and of course it's through, brokerage connections. And I know not all of you guys are at Real, and that's fine too, right? Wherever you are, we're here to help you with that stuff. But that's how we connected, was through our brokerage. And so when I met Dan, he reached out, we went and had lunch. And, there's just certain people that you meet and you go, oh, he's got it. Like the conversations that you can have with people and just kind of the flow, and that their life is ingrained in real estate. You feel it. So for me to be able to watch you do what you're doing is awesome. I love seeing how you're growing, how you're finding your niche too, which this is, I think, another important point of this is a lot of times people look at maybe teams like myself and it's very lead driven with referral partner programs and things like that. And that's not what you always have to do. Like there's other ways to do this stuff. And Dan is a prime example of how you can do this. Plus you have a really awesome wife that supports you on the back end too. So it's like a husband and wife team kind of support too. So it looks like Jordan's here as well. What's up? I thought you were going to be like drunk and hungover.
Oh, shush it. No, hey everybody. Hey Dan. Nice to see you. I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. I'm at the conference in Nashville called Rate. And I'm actually getting ready to be given a microphone, so I can't stay on here very long because I have to go back into the session. Apparently I have an impromptu need to speak. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
good to see
do you
everybody.
have anything to add? Yeah, no worries before you go on there. And then
No, it's funny. I'm out here with there's a organization called Rate, Radio and Television Experts. It's a marketing company that we're partnered with. But there's about 200 team leaders here, and a lot of production in the room. My team, we did 200 million last year, and we're like one of the smaller teams here. So it's interesting to kind of see the perspective of a lot of people, but a lot of these big teams are struggling in this marketplace because of the need of high expense and to support a large team. So Dan, I think it's really timely that you're jumping on here and talking about running a small but profitable team, because I think bigger is not always sexier, and it's definitely not always more profitable. So excited to hear what you have to say, and I'll definitely listen to the recording afterwards.
Jordan, I just have to ask, did you get frisked because of protein powder on this trip?
No. So funny story for everybody. Dan and I were going to, was it Houston a couple weeks ago? And I brought baggies of protein powder and like pretty much got damn near strip searched. They had to bring a chemist out to test all the powders in my bag. I'm serious, like a guy in a suit came out. And I was a terrorist for about a half hour.
And I literally did the same thing with the baggies of protein powder in my shaker cup, and I came away, without a problem. So that was it was a funny way for us to meet in person for the first time.
Yep.
Oh,
ways.
that was good.
All right.
All
Well, hey,
right.
thanks for letting me jump on and say hi. Thanks, Dan, for jumping in today. Sorry I can't hang.
Yeah, no worries. Go do your thing, Jordan, or hang out as long as you need to. I got this. So, all right, Dan, let's kind of go into it a little bit. I think, and again, this is a collaborative room here. So if any of you guys have questions that you want to ask Dan, you can put it in the chat, or you can just start talking and chime in, and feel free to cut me off or whatever it is that you need. I'm not sensitive to any of that stuff. So what I know you said what your makeup is of your team as of right now. And so I guess I want to give you the floor a little bit to speak about how well, what I like to hear first is like, what are some of the systems that you're using, right, for a team of your size? Maybe if you've used something else and that didn't work, and where are you now with that? How does that operation flow? Because you and I've talked about too, where we have this kind of hybrid brain going on, where we're operational and we're transactional cells, and so we can kind of think on both sides. So give me kind of a layout of that, and then we can go into kind of your superpower with how you get opportunities for your team.
Yeah, for sure. So just some insight as far as the systems that we have in place right now. Is that what you're?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. And I'm curious just to get a sense of the room, because I know this is a team's mastermind. If you guys could put in the chat, like, if you don't have a team yet, but you want to start building a team, put a 1. If you have a small team, like up to 5 people, put a 2. And if you have a bigger than 5-person team, put a number 3. I'd love to just get a sense of who's in the room so I can adjust what we're talking about today. Okay.
That's an awesome idea, and I'm going to steal that going forward.
Ron Shibata always does these like this, and it's also it's great for us to know. Okay, so actually pretty split across the board. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing: we're still a pretty new team. Like last year, we brought on our first agent, like I said, and we learned a lot through that process. And part of the process of bringing him on was, look, we just need help. So let's bring on a semi-experienced agent that isn't quite at the production level that he wants to be. And part of that process was thinking like, I don't have all the systems yet. So bring someone that's comfortable, that can actually like plug and play, and that we can help out and assist, but be very, very upfront with the fact that we don't have all that stuff yet. We don't have an ISA. We'll have team meetings, but we don't have like a full training program. And so really the goal for this year was to level up all of that so that now we're starting to offer more. A big part of, like Siri mentioned, we are a husband and wife team, but we're a very non-traditional husband and wife team. The main thing for me was I want to build a business, and I want to build a business to where we can walk away from and take vacations from. And so from day one, we're like, we're not going to build a traditional team where we're husband and wife real estate agents. She's non-licensed. So now the way we have this set up is she's more or less on the back end, helping us build out our client referral base, build out like new programs that we're building, build out our VIP group in our plan all of our events. So she's doing all these things on the back end, but not necessarily getting tied down to the day-to-day, although she is also our team transaction coordinator. So she is tied to that part of the process. But I also see that as in terms of like, that is an easy part to pass off down the line. We can teach anyone to become a transaction coordinator. So we're not too worried about that. So starting this year, like as far as the nuts and bolts of what we offer for our team and the systems that we have in place, we have a weekly team meeting. So every single Wednesday. One thing that we've done this year that has helped out a lot, and for anyone in the group with especially with a 1 or a 2, if you are in a situation to where you don't have a physical office, an amazing office like Siri and the Brand Realty, like amazing office that you guys have. If you're on the smaller side and you can't budget for that, which I think a lot of us are in that position, what we've done is we've actually partnered up with our lender, our primary lender. We don't force our agents to use them, but they offer a ton of value for us and for our team. And one of the things they do is they allow us to actually utilize their conference room and their office space every other week. So
that's awesome. That's a great idea.
So every other week we do a Zoom meeting, and then the other weeks, which is just an hour-long Zoom meeting, The other weeks we meet in person. And so we can have our like regular meeting. We can bring in the lender. We can talk about the state of the market and what's happening in the local real estate market. We could bring in, our escrow partners and our title reps. And last week we had an ADU company come out and talk about ADUs. So we can provide that extra value and training process along the way. And then the other kind of like big things that we offer for our team are, I know, I talk to a lot of people that are in this position of a number one and number two in the group of like wanting to start a team and just starting a team. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that say they start a team and the agent doesn't work out. They don't know how to follow up with leads. They don't know how to convert leads. They have so many challenges. They're not profitable. They're making less money. This is something I kept hearing over and over and over again. So we've been trying to like hyper focus on how to become profitable and how to start things the right way. And so one of the big things we didn't do is we didn't say, all right, we're going to bring on all these people. Let's spend a bunch of money on leads. Because I know if you don't have the systems in place to help people convert those leads at a high level, then you're going to be throwing your money down the drain. So what we've done is we've created a system where we do have some leads coming in through YouTube, and they're very high quality leads. They're very easy to convert. I think everyone on our team has closed a YouTube lead this year, which is awesome. We are doing different retargeting ads and things like that, but I'm not buying, Redfin leads and we're in a market where it's kind of hard to get the high quality referral leads anyway. But we haven't spent a bunch of money on leads. The other thing we did was we're trying to help them build a referral base through their SOI. So we have things like a VIP group where all of our past clients are in it, plus our best referral partners out of our sphere of influence, or people that we want to turn into future business. We offer monthly giveaways. We have 4 to 5 events every single year that we invite people to. And we just give them a ton of opportunity to reach out to their sphere of influence. That isn't just, hey, do you have anybody to refer business or refer me to? So those are kind of the big pieces that we have in place right now. And I'm happy to go into more detail on any of them.
Muting because I just put in the chat your YouTube channel as well, just so that people, oh wait, no, I didn't. I put the Zoom. Hold on. Sorry, everyone. As I'm trying to unmute and get the right one. Yeah, so again, I want this to be collaborative for you guys to kind of chime in and speak on that. And I'll put his YouTube channel in there too, because I'm curious how many of you all are doing this kind of a setup or plan to do this kind of a setup in your business or with your team or with yourself. How many of you all plan to do that? I see Justin's kind of smiling and moving a little bit. Is there anybody out there who's doing something that's not just the traditional leads out there, that has kind of more of a social media? Marlon, I do YouTube leads for my team as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, just to kind of see who's out there to relate to that kind of a flow, which I, again, think is very fascinating, because here's the thing about those kind of opportunities, and Dan, you know this, is partially what I'm jealous about is that these are typically very, very high quality leads, right? Like they're kind of that come and list me or come and buy, right? So it helps you and it helps the team. So my question for you is, because you're still in production, how do you do that where the leads are coming in? How do you make it so that it's not how do you diversify the leads out to your team so that it doesn't feel like, oh, Dan's just cherry picking this? And how do they get those opportunities?
Yeah,
for those kind of leads, because those are high quality leads, right? And you want to make sure that someone doesn't drop the ball. Plus, they're seeing you.
Yep.
They're seeing you. So how do you do that?
Yeah. So number one is I am cherry picking the leads, and I tell my agents that. I mean, I don't necessarily say I'm cherry picking, but like I let them know you're not going to be able to run your business just off of my leads. You have to build a business on your own, and I'm going to help you build a business on your own. And as we progress, the goal is to give you more and more of these. I want to see everyone succeed on our team. So I am taking the highest quality leads. I just got $1.6 million property under contract this morning because of a YouTube lead. They came out and saw homes once and we're under contract. So I do pick the good leads. My goal is now moving forward, like we're about to go really hard. We just moved, as you know, Siri, we just moved to Carlsbad, and we really like our neighborhood. and we're going to be going hard on farming our local community of 1,000 homes. So my goal is to actually, so through YouTube, it's all buyer leads essentially. So my next step in production, my next goal is to really go hard on farming this area, become the team listing agent essentially, and then be able to pass off all these buyer leads. The other part that makes it a little bit easier is San Diego County is a big place. I don't want to go to Chula Vista anymore. I don't want to go to Ramona. I don't want to go to Temecula. I don't want to go to, the places that are far away or the lower price point areas. And so when I get those leads in, I have an agent in Oceanside. I have an agent that is central that can handle Chula Vista. I can kind of separate it out based on geographically where they're coming in. So that does make it a little bit easier. And then now what I'm doing is when leads come in and they seem like they're going to be more work to convert, or they're just asking some questions, instead of handing that initial conversation myself, I'm immediately transitioning them over to meeting someone on my team. So I'll make an introduction email. And because they found me on YouTube through our YouTube videos, anytime we have a new member join our team, they'll be accompanying me on my next YouTube video when we meet up with our videographer, and we'll actually do an introduction video. So I'll take about 1.5 minutes, just introducing them to our team, asking them what their favorite things are about living in San Diego. And then that seems to be a really good way of, whenever I want to hand off a lead to one of our other agents, of saying, look, here's our lead agent, Chris, and here's this video. It's going to do a lot better of a job than I am about introducing them to you. And so it just immediately helps to give them the trust of that agent.
So question for you, because in my brain, I'm always thinking scalability of growth, right?
Yep.
That's not where everybody else always needs to go or wants to go. So my question for you is, what is your vision? Where do you want to go? Do you want to keep it this smaller team where you can have those special, because for me, with as many agents as I have, to do like those kind of warm, fuzzy things would be a lot of work. It'd almost be impossible at this point. So what is your vision as far as your growth or where you want to go with this?
Yeah, great question. And the reality is we know things are going to change over time. And just an example of that is, and this is why I recommend for anybody who hasn't started a team yet, is when I bring on agents, I let them know they have their contract they sign. It's only valid for this year. We redo our contracts every single year in case we need to adjust for profitability or for, whatever, if we need to change what our expectations of them are. It's all in that contract, and it's completely starting from scratch every single year. So just knowing that there is the flexibility to change things is really important. We know with our VIP group and the way that we every single month, we literally just hand out a graphic to a gift card for everyone that's in our VIP group. I know that's not sustainable long-term, and we'll have to figure out a better way to do that. But for now, it's working. So we're starting to brainstorm, what does that next version of this look like? Is it just once a month where we actually meet them physically somewhere? Or can we find a way to continue to do this on a massive scale, on a bigger scale? Like maybe there's just a certain limit that we're putting on those gift cards instead of saying, go get whatever you want. So yeah, we do know that some of those things are going to have to change over time. One of the other things that I've considered is, a year ago, if you would have asked me, Dan, what's your team going to look like in 5 years? Like, where would you love for it to be? I would have told you, I want to have 200 agents on my team. I want to be doing a ton of production. Now I'm more of the mindset of, and I think this is in part because of things like this mastermind and connecting with agents around the country that have gone through this process, and learning that more agents on your team does not always equate to more money. A lot of times it sounds like it's the opposite. So what is important for me right now is, how do we grow this with the most profitability? How do we have the most amount of transactions with the least amount of hands going to? So I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but I think it's possible that maybe something like an Eric Hatch model of going forward, just having these agents to become more and more successful, and then bringing on showing partners, and then hiring out VAs to assist on the back end. I think that there could really be something to that. But yeah, I mean, maximum profitability is the goal. So I'm still a little bit open-minded to what that looks like. And we're in a situation where this hybrid role, we brought in someone who's half admin, half agent. she reached out to me because she was watching my YouTube videos. She came from Georgia. She relocated to San Diego, and she loved my videos, and she asked to be on our team. And so we weren't necessarily ready to bring on another agent. I didn't have so many leads. I needed one more agent on, but she just seemed to fit like our team atmosphere really well. So we kind of invented this like hybrid role for her. So the way that we are right now with the amount of people that we have on our team, there's still so much opportunity to grow what we currently have. So I'm not looking to like bring on new people immediately. So yeah, I'm taking my time and figuring out what that next step is going to be, but something like an air catch model with the showing partners is probably.
Yeah. I have a few questions for you, Dan. So I'm Liv, I'm Series creative marketing director over here. So you've mentioned that you had an agent come to you from your videos and whatnot. Do you find that you have agents that really come join your team looking for that guidance and kind of learn from you how to do that? And do you have systems in place to teach them how to do it? Or how do you approach that if agents are like, I want to become you?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I am hoping that the agents we bring on our team, it's more like an attraction based model where they see and like what I'm doing and they want to build something similar. So yeah, there is something to that. Now, someone mentioned at Real Estate Video Blueprint that also kind of hit home with me is, I think it was Gia Silva, where agents, especially newer agents, will see someone that is good on video and they're attracted to that because they think, okay, well, I just won't have to do a lot of work. They have all these leads coming in. It's like an easy system. I don't have to grind the pavement. I don't have to pick up the phone and call. And so there is kind of that sense of, all right, you can't get yourself stuck in a corner of attracting agents that aren't willing to do the work. So I think there has to be kind of a middle ground there. But do I teach them social media and how to attract clients? Yes. I don't have anyone on my team who's ready or willing to create their own YouTube channel because there's a lot of work that goes into that.
A ton.
They're all doing like Tyler Hassman style property tours. They're all doing green screen videos for like reels. And my agent on my team.
I have to say, you showed me how to do that. That was a big like aha moment, right? How do I do those green screens? Yes.
It's so easy. I mean, like right now it's driving me crazy. I just got 2 breaking news articles yesterday about, oh my gosh, we can't believe nobody would have expected that the housing market is turning around. And all of them are referencing data from January, February of like closed homes in January, February, which means those were offers that were accepted in December and January. It drives me crazy as a real estate agent because it's like, that's what I've been talking about all year. This isn't breaking news. This news is like 5 months old. So just doing a quick little green screen clip of that article and telling people that kind of stuff works really, really well.
And then, so sorry, Sierra. One last question about the content stuff. So do you have a full-time videographer? I know that you're obviously a master too at filming, like you can just kind of set it up and do it. Or do you have somebody else that comes in, and is that a full-time position on your team?
It's not right now. And the reality is a lot of times a videographer is not the solution to the problem people have. The problem people have is not actually making the content, not getting in front of the camera, not doing it consistently enough. And so like for a lot of people that the videographer isn't the solution. I meet with a videographer once a month and we do a neighborhood tour, but I would say 7 out of 8 of my videos, because I do about 2 videos a week on YouTube, are just right here in front of my background. Because it's so much easier, it's so much cheaper. It performs just as well. But I think it is nice to like increase that quality every once in a while and actually be on the streets and show San Diego. So no, I don't think it's necessary to have a full-time videographer. I'm probably pretty far away from that happening.
And
your background is awesome, by the way, Dan.
Thanks.
Oh, isn't it? I know. I think I've asked you too, like what's all the stuff that you use for, even just all your equipment that you use and stuff like that. Cause I know you have like a teleprompter set up too, right? That you use with stuff.
Yeah. So I'll drop a link in here of my Amazon page. No, I have, I'll send you guys all the stuff that I'm using, but essentially this background is not difficult, you guys. We just moved and like, I was able to recreate this whole background in, a couple hours. It's basically a painted wall. This right here, I got on Amazon for like $50. You get custom, neon signs on Amazon for like $50, and then a shelf with some LED lights and some items on it. The background is not difficult at all. The main things are like I have a nicer camera that's connected to my computer. I have 2 lights that I can adjust the brightness and the temperature of, and they just like, I'm not really smart when it comes to technology and all this stuff, but I was able to set it up once, and now I click a button and it turns on, and it's perfect every time. So that's what I really like about this setup is the more barriers you have to filming a video, the less chance you're going to film that video. So now everything is already set up. I basically hit a button and all the lights turn on, the camera turns on, and I'm ready to go.
So one of the things that I was just talking to someone recently about was actually doing. So when Dan drops this link, what we find a lot of the times, and I know this is kind of getting off a little bit of like, team-based kind of conversation, but I guess it does kind of go back into like when you're building a team, what we find is people can come on these and they can like grab, they'll be scribbling down, right? Like you guys are probably taking little notes and little things, and maybe this link here or whatever. It's really as good as what you implement and you do. So how great would that be to see, hey, Paul, I don't know if you want to have a background like Dan, right? Do you want to have a background like Dan? Is that pretty sweet? I mean, I like your background, but like if you want to have a background, it's a matter of going and doing it. And
Dan's background is pretty cool. I'll give him that.
It is pretty cool. Yes. And so, part of that, I guess I can kind of loop it back into the team thing is and I was just talking to a couple people recently about this, is they'll say, all right, I went to this event. I have a whole list of notes of all these things that I'm going to go do. And then literally nothing happens. Nothing happens, right? So something as simple as Dan's background, because I actually saw your background and I was like, oh, I mean, mine's not like yours, but I was like, all these people with all these lights and everything, I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to go buy this. I don't know what I'm doing.
True story.
This is a true story. And I'm going to go do that, right? And same thing with these team leaders, and some of you on here that are team leaders or want to be, it's literally as good as you doing it. The other thing is you can hear from Dan, we've tried things and it didn't work, or we're going to like try this hybrid model and hey, maybe that's going to work. Maybe it's not, right? And then we go and we try something else. And so I think, a lot of this stuff is just going and doing it. And again, I know this is kind of me tail spinning off of your amazing background that we were just talking about, but I do think it's a good opportunity for everyone to grab this link if you want it, look at his YouTube page if that's where you want to go. And, how awesome would that be for all of us to show up with a cool background or, those kind of things that you need to do while you're trying to build you or your team. Anyways, rant over, but I want to ask you a couple more questions about your team too. So do you mind sharing what your splits look like on a team like this? It would be, for team leads and Sphere. What does that look like?
Yeah. So, and we have, Chris is in the chat here. He actually probably knows the splits better than I do because I feel like I'm a little bit disconnected from that. But essentially what we did was our first year, we had one agent on our team. Our splits weren't high enough. Like we were not profitable. We lost money that first year, only having one agent. And another just kind of a piece of advice for anyone looking to start a team is I can't imagine being profitable with one agent because there's so much time and effort and energy that you have to put into training that person, to building out all these systems. It just doesn't make sense for one person. But when we brought on that first agent and didn't have the systems, it was like, all right, well, I guess some of the benefits you're going to have is you're probably going to have a better split this first year, but just again, like this is probably going to change next year. And so now I think we're in a lot better of a flow of things. I don't remember exactly what our splits are this year, what they've changed to, but we have a different split for team leads and for SOI leads. So I want to say team leads, the team split is 40%, and then SOI is 30%. And then after your first 20 transactions with a team, it's basically like a tenure thing. then your SOI split goes down to 25%. And then there's also the broker split on top of that until they cap. But that's the system. Those are the splits that we have set up right now.
So just so I'm clear, 40% goes to you or 40% goes to them? You get 40. Okay. Okay. Chris, are you here? Actually, I have a funny story about Chris. I don't know. There he is. What's up, Chris? I actually lived right next door to his wife. And when I saw that Chris joined your team, I was like, wait a minute. I know him, but I don't know him. So that was kind of an interesting connection. All right. It looks like Chris put in here 60-40, 70-30. Team lead 60-40, SOI 70-30.
And then one other thing that we did this year is your first 3 transactions with our team are 45% across the board. And then after that, it goes to the regular split. And obviously the thought process behind that is there's a lot of work that goes into getting someone off the ground and getting their first couple of transactions. And then they get into the regular split after that.
And one of the questions here is, do you guys provide, well, I think you answered that earlier, no ISA, right?
Yeah.
But how does that work with TC, with staff?
Yes.
Being on board?
So, good questions. And if the day comes where we have an ISA, we might have to change our splits because of that. And that's going to obviously benefit everybody on our team because there's going to be a lot more conversion happen before anyone has to talk to anybody. So no, we do not have an ISA. I take all the inbound leads. I get about consistently 1 lead a day through YouTube. But the cool thing about YouTube is out of every 2.5 Zoom consultations I have, we get a closing. And it's higher than the median price point here in San Diego on average. So we're talking $1 million plus transaction. So that's manageable for me still at this point. I know once I'm doing 4 to 5 Zoom calls every week, that's where I'm going to max out on that. And we'll have to start outsourcing. But I've done the outsourced ISA in the past and it just did not work for me. So I know next time we come around to that, we're going to have to plan it all in-house, whether that's through VAs, but coming up with all the systems ourselves or bring someone on locally. And then TC is not included with the split. That is a separate fee. So again, maybe something that we consider adjusting in the future, but yeah, they still pay their own TC fee.
So when an agent gets, let's say they have a seller, or a seller lead that comes in, that's their sphere. Are they doing the manual input into the MLS? Is there any assistance around that kind of stuff? What does that look like as far as leverage for the agents?
Yeah. So as of right now, we are a very buyer heavy team. And so we're just starting to build out a lot of the listing services. Our admin right now is going to start doing more of listing coordination. So it's actually on my to-do list for today of we're building out that checklist because we have a listing coming live this week or next week. And sorry, what was the question again?
It's all right.
I just walked off a cliff there. I don't know.
I do that too. No, it's just a question about leverage for your agents, what kind of administrative leverage for something like that? How do you structure that? I mean, you're small, so I get it. I'm just trying to kind of pull out and just like you're saying that's on my list today. I'm seeing that as something as a need, right? So I think it's cool.
So they'll inputting it themselves. And then it's kind of like a TC plus. So Steph is a TC plus. She's doing all the regular services that a TC would do. And then she's also taking over a lot of the conversation, especially once we get under contract. She's doing a lot of the extra legwork to get things going. We have minimum standards for our listings of if you want to be on our team, we're going to get professional photos, we're going to make a video, and we're going to advertise that video. These are the services that we're promising for our listing. So across the board, everybody has to do that. And yeah, that's kind of the way that we have it set up. But again, we're still kind of developing those things.
Yeah, which is normal for where you are. And another thing that you said is it's on your list. You're going to sit down, you're going to make a checklist, you're going to go through and build that, the SOP out and just kind of have that in place. And I personally don't like doing that stuff. I'm okay with, right? It's tedious. I don't like doing that stuff. As much as I like following checklists, kind of, I don't like making it. So That's kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to emphasize is the grindy part. So again, for those of you that are looking to make your, to start a team or make your team larger or to scale your team, you're going to either have to find someone that does that stuff, or you're going to have to literally just hunker down and do that stuff that you probably don't like to do. Right. So I kind of want to open it up a little bit. I think, Liv, you had a question here, and then I do want to open it up a little bit. So don't be crickets here, everyone. Okay. I want to see people unmute and actually talk here. It's a mastermind, and ask some questions with Dan and make this a little bit more collaborative. Okay.
I can start by answering the questions in the chat over here.
Yeah, let's go through and grab some stuff that may be in here. And then again, if you guys can unmute and speak and start, just collaborating. I feel like a lot of times on these, we just kind of have dialogue, it's Jordan and I in the post. And I really want us to become a community where we're talking about this stuff. So Dan, what do you see in here that you want to chit chat on?
Yeah. So as far as how we determine which agent gets what lead, I'm taking essentially all the inbound calls right now. So I'm just trying to more or less round robin, but also we have agents in different parts of San Diego. So I'm trying to keep it, make it sense geographically. We also have, we just set this up the other day, which is cool through Chime. They now have a lead pond option. So essentially all of our old leads, all of our old, anyone who signed up for a discovery call that kind of fell off the map, anyone that just signs up through the website, they just get put into a lead pond, and then all of our agents have the opportunity to make calls to that pond. And then whoever makes the first contact, then they can assign it to themselves. And then they can only hold on to 100 team leads. And then if they're not responding to those team leads on a 30-day period, then they get back into the pond. So again, they're all systems that we're still developing and figuring out how to properly manage all this stuff. But those are the standards that we've set for our team. And then YouTube leads are 100% organic at this point. But what we have set up is retargeting people that have watched our YouTube videos. So I think YouTube is phenomenal at just figuring out who your ideal audience is and putting your videos in front of them. So that's where we've gotten a lot of organic leads from. And then through Google, you can actually retarget the people that have watched your videos. So you can do Google display ads, you can do YouTube ads. And then through Facebook and Instagram, they retarget people that hit your website. So every single call to action sends people to our website, and now we can retarget them throughout the web.
All right. I think Gary has a question. Gary, since this is your department, this is actually a good one.
Yeah, just wondering what your onboarding looks like for your new agents. I
know
you have a smaller team, but who does the training? What does that look like when you're bringing?
Yeah, good question. So when we brought on the 2 agents this year is really when we developed that program. So we call it a fast agent start program. And essentially there are, I want to say about a dozen different training modules. And I did essentially most of them live with our agents, recorded it, and then built out an actual training manual that links back to those videos. So, and there's homework and stuff involved with that. So essentially now, next time we hire someone on, we still have a couple of those to finish up, but we're very close to finishing that up. Then we have it all built out for the next agents that come on.
Okay, cool.
So you have them again, Dan, you have them in a drive, the videos that you've done, and then you just kind of have it, built out with links to these different areas that they go to watch the videos.
Exactly. Yep.
Got it.
Do you have a time limit on when they need to be done with all those videos, to be completed with onboarding?
I don't remember exactly if we put something in place. I know that is the intention, but it took us, because I was building it from scratch, it took a couple of months to build most of this stuff out. So before next time we bring someone on, all that stuff will be put in place. But yeah, there will definitely be a time limit, and it'll probably be, look, you're not going to get team leads until this is completed type of thing.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that in place until fairly recent. We just said, hey, we have a hub, right? We call it the hub. And we said, hey, go over to the hub and do your training. And Gary's shaking his head because he knows this. And then
it's been evolving over the last year and a half.
Yes.
So
and then 90 days later, we were like, well, they're still over there trying to do the hub. You know what I mean? And so we put into place a 30-day. So, and then here's the thing, whenever you have those standards that you put into place, now you got to track it.
Yes.
You got to track it. So just like you said, the agents can only have 100 leads. So
Mhm.
our agents have 50 team leads, like SOIs, that's their thing. But then we had to implement tracking, and who does the tracking, and how do we, enforce that stuff? And again, when you're a smaller team, it's not that hard to be able to go in and just see where people are at. But as you start to scale and grow, you have to have the tracking and you have to have the consequences if they don't do it. And so, those are important things to remember as you're building your team and it just evolves, it just kind of starts to evolve over time with stuff like that as well.
100%.
We have another question here. Are majority of the YouTube leads coming from out of state or mostly moving within San Diego or California?
Most of them. So our channel is about relocating to San Diego. So a lot of the people that reach out, maybe they've lived in San Diego for a short period of time, or maybe they rented for the last year, but majority of people are coming from other places, whether it's within California or throughout the US, or I just closed for some clients that came from Canada, and we get people from all over.
Got it. What other questions do you guys have? I'm going to open it up a little bit and see if there's anything else in here.
I have one.
What's up, Dana?
Dan, hi.
Hi.
Dan, I
Done.
have a question about sorry, I'm driving, so I hope I don't cut in and out here, but I have a question about your VIP group that you created. Is it a Facebook group? Is it?
Oh, you muted. Don't crash while you're driving here.
I
Tell
know,
us
I was
about
just getting a phone call and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I can show you guys real quick if I can get access to share my screen here. I don't know if someone real is paying attention. I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, you should. Real Academy, please.
So, all right. Oh, they'll get it. So I would tell you guys to just go look at it yourself, but the reality is it's a private group. We only have 145 followers. It's essentially almost entirely our past clients over the last like 6 days. Well, our past clients over the last year or so. So because it's private, we do things like we upload gift cards, we promote the people in the group, we promote all of our closings. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is it. This is our Best Life community. We mostly run it through Instagram, which works really well because most of our clients are on Instagram. The downside is we don't see a lot of engagement between our clients on here. So something like Facebook group would be better for the sense that you'll get more people engaging with one another. Whereas on here, it's kind of like it's mostly a one-sided conversation. But you can see we promote our closings. There's Chris right there. And we have an event coming up at Dogleg Brewery, May 17th. And then we'll upload, like, this is a lot of the people that we get in are moving from other places. So we like to show them, like, what are the best places to go in San Diego, the coffee roasters, the breweries, the bakers, and things like that. So we'll promote one of those businesses every single month. This month we did Serpentine Cider. And we usually will show a gift card, but they actually just started a tab for us. So then it has instructions on, hey, go grab a round on us, use these instructions. And the only thing that we want back is send us a photo of yourself. So now we can promote that in the group as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what's great about my
Okay.
wife, Stephanie, on our team is essentially the way that we have it set up is like, I'm the real estate agent. I get people under contract. The second they're under contract, she's our TC. So she handles a lot of the communication and the coordination throughout the transaction. And then she runs the VIP group and all of our events and everything. So it's like, I get them under contract. And once we're under contract, she almost takes over. And for the rest of their lives, she's staying in front of them with all these events and different things.
So one of the lucky things that Dan married is an event coordinator. She was an event coordinator at one point, right? So you can see the benefit of having someone like a Stephanie that, can go in. So she's the one that's managing that Instagram, and so what's her flow as far as getting people? Do you know, like, what does she do to get people on that Instagram channel? I think that's a big thing too when you have larger number of agents, is trying to get them to move to where you want them to move, and how do you collect that information? Be
Yeah.
curious.
That can be tough for sure. And one of the big things that we focused on last year is just elevating the service that we're offering for our clients. And so this is another big value add for the agents on our team is we do a lot for them. Like we show up for the first showing, we have a branded bag that says Best Life San Diego and it has some granola bars and waters in it. We get under contract, we send them some crumble cookies, we close on the property. There's going to be 2 of us that show up. We're going to have some confetti. We're going to have a bottle of champagne to open right then and there. We're going to have another bottle in a gift basket for them to open up whenever they want. And so we make a big deal throughout this whole process. And it makes it easier for us because it's our team standard that 2 members of our team are going to show up for every closing so that we can like really make a big deal of it. When we go there, we make sure that they're on our VIP group. We make sure that they sign up for our VIP group, but we also have a lot of messaging that's built out and templated emails of, when they close, we're going to send this information. It's going to ask for a review. It's going to tell them about our VIP group. And then, so essentially right now, Steph is managing all that stuff.
And you pay for like the crumbled, and then you're providing all that stuff. So it's not having the agents do all that. Got
Yep.
it.
Mhm.
Got it. All right. What other questions do you guys have? We have a couple more minutes. And then after, I'd like to, Dan, have something that maybe you would like to have like some help from the audience, that you are kind of hitting a point of, well, what do I do next? Right. So be thinking of that. And so any other questions that y'all have? Sam? Hi.
Hey. So I'm just starting a team. So the questions I have are super basic. So I apologize about that. I'm going to bring it way back. But as far as the team phone number, how do you get the team phone number? Is it actually a number, or do you just have that number forwarded to different agents, or how does all that work? And then as far as the email address, do you guys use like the GoDaddy? And so it's @yourteam.com, or do you do their name .seriteam@gmail.com? Like, how do you guys do those things?
These are all the fun little logistics that will literally tear your brain
They're
out.
not fun, Siri. You're lying.
Yeah. Dan, you want to speak on that? Do you want me to go into
Yeah.
some of that? Yeah.
I'm
Go
sure
ahead.
I'll start with like level 1 and you can get
Yeah.
So, yeah, go to GoDaddy, get a website domain, and then you can go through Google Suite, I think is what it's called. There's so many
G Suite.
different suites.
G Suite.
And then you can create email addresses for everyone on your team. So that's what we've done. Our website is Best Life Home Team. So Dan at Best Life Home Team, info at Best Life Home Team, Chris at Best Life Home Team. And so that's how we have the email set up. As far as the number, I have one specific number that I use for YouTube, and it's a Google number. So right now, those Google numbers come to me, which if you guys follow me on Instagram, you can hear of this crazy call I got at 6:30 this morning, which was kind of funny. I got cussed out. This crazy man. But the nice thing about that is if I go on vacation, I can assign that Google number to someone else, or there's different ways that you can handle it. And then you can set it up through your CRM as well. There's different ways there's so many different options there. But right now, the main thing for me is I have a Google number, and I know that I can do more with that in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we personally use a company called Grasshopper, and we have a phone number that we've had from the very beginning through Grasshopper. And so like that's our main number. And I personally have it run by some administrative staff, but that's kind of like you said, like maybe a next level thing. I think what you're doing, Dan, is great, and Google is great, and you can just assign it out like you said. So a lot of those numbers too will be able to like, you can, what's the word, Liv, where you can have it go to another company? Is it parse over, or where they can like, so if you get a phone number, then you can share it with another one if you move services, in other words.
Yeah,
There's a word for it.
that is basically like you're switching the carrier so you can keep the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, that's typically you can do that. So it's, whoever you use, I would ask that question or research to make sure that that number can go with you somewhere else. That's important.
It's port.
you
I
put
think
that-
you can port the number to another.
That's what it
service.
is. It's port.
Porting. Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Paul. I would have
Yes.
been going crazy if I didn't think of that.
There you go.
I can tell you that if you have certain CRMs allow you to set up all sorts of different phone numbers, and you can set up a phone number in. Like I use Vault Boss. I have a company number in there, and I can move it around to different agents if I wanted to, and I can filter who gets a call when that number gets called. I could set up a sign call so all the signs have it. You can set it up in a lot of different CRMs, or use something like Grasshopper or any number of phone companies to set up different ways to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? And then Dan, I just want to have you give us maybe one thing that we can help you with at this point as a collective group. Any other questions you guys have?
Any other questions first?
No. Okay. What can we help you with before we wrap this up?
Good question. I mean, the biggest thing on my mind right now is I get a lot of buyer leads in, and they're good, great quality buyer leads. But the next step for us is farming and getting those listings. So I was just curious what suggestions you guys have to dominate a farm or to get listings.
I'm going to open this up because not my thing.
Because we don't do it.
I don't know, George. I just visited one of your really nice listings last weekend. So man.
We need to do it.
Well, funny thing you asked that, Dan, is because that's what I've been trying to get Siri to actually put into place on our team, because we don't farm. We do a lot of referral based. So a lot of our listings that come in are through referral partners, or through Yelp, or through, the base that Siri built. But we're trying to get into the, farming or going around our past sales as well. So if anybody else is doing it well, please chime in, because we need to hear it too.
Yeah. All
So
yours.
basically, I can tell you guys just a preface of what we're developing is we're essentially getting like a 6 to 8 templated postcards. We have a farm of 1,000 homes, and we're going to do every single week a postcard for 8 weeks, and then every other week for eternity after that. And at the same time, we're going to hit them with some digital YouTube pre-roll ads just for that area, some Google display ads, and then also our Google business page, we're going to market to the area as well. So that's how we're starting out.
And so how are you picking which areas you're doing?
So I moved to a new area. We ran the data for my neighborhood, and it wasn't great. And so we looked at the neighborhood right next to us, and the median price point was $400,000 higher, and the turnover rate was double what it is of my neighborhood. So I said, fantastic, perfect. That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
So I have one other follow-up question to that. So when I was starting my farming in my neighborhood, there's one agent that pretty much dominates our neighborhood. So are you taking that in consideration, or are you just saying you can beat that agent?
I am. When I ran the numbers of what agents are most active, I didn't really see anyone that did more than 2 or 3 transactions. So there were a number of them that were competitive in the market, but none of them that were dominant.
Cool.
Yeah. Is anybody else doing some farming? By the way, Josh, it's good to see you on here. Anybody else doing farming?
I have a very small farm, so.
Do you? Okay.
Consistency is the only key that I've always heard, is start small so you can hit it consistently and then grow from there. Otherwise, if you have it too big, if you stop, it takes so long to get going. So if you start too big and and then cut funds, then you just wasted, 6 months or whatever.
I guess I have a question for you on that too. Thanks, you guys. Dan, for farming, how are you doing that with a team? So when those, who's on the cards? Is it you? Is it you with the team? How does that work?
So my vision of what the next phase of our team is that I'm not taking any buyer leads, and I'm passing off all those amazing buyer leads to the team. And I will solely focus on listing in this area if it'll pay off well enough. So,
okay. So this is a you thing for you, for your area, for you and yourself, and leads coming in. Got it.
Yeah, at least for now. But I imagine essentially, even if I get to the point where I have a listing agent on our team that's taking all the listings, it's going to be far away. One thing I learned about starting a team is it's never as profitable or as quickly profitable as you want it to be. And to get fully out of production is not an easy thing. But I imagine if I'm literally just doing listings within a 2-mile radius of our house, I can do that for a long time. So that's the goal of that's the next phase. And then who knows where it'll go from there.
Got it. Love it. All right, well, let's get this wrapped up. It was great to have you on. Again, this is going to be recorded. It's going to go on YouTube. I did put in the chat Dan's YouTube channel, and Dan also does. How often do you do your YouTube training with you and Bern? How often is
Yeah, we
that?
do it we do it every 4 weeks. So we're trying to
4
get
weeks.
on a more regular basis. We just did it yesterday, so we're a couple of weeks out. But if
Okay.
anyone's interested in learning how to crush it on YouTube, just shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll make sure that you're notified next time one goes out.
Would you like to put in the chat your Instagram so that everybody can grab it and follow you and learn about all that fun stuff?
For sure. This was fun. Thanks for having me on, Siri. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fun to have you. Super pumped on that. So you guys, before we go, grab his Instagram here in the chat, follow Dan. You're going to be seeing a lot more of him. I'm excited because you guys are doing it right in my mind. So,
Appreciate you.
all right. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for joining.